Hello and welcome back to The Long Way Forward. My name's Brian. This is episode 21 and the title of this episode is Accountability, where culture becomes real. If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe. This is the 21st episode. We have 20 more beforehand and we've got a lot more coming. It is The Long Way Forward. This is a podcast about you, the world, self-improvement, outcomes, leadership, and how to make life easier, how to be more efficient, more effective, and win more. But enough of that. If you enjoy, subscribe. If you want to add a comment, that'd be awesome. Let's get into the podcast, shall we? Today, we're going to talk about something that quietly resonates, quietly determines whether everything we've spoken about so far actually works. Believe me, it does. I'm too many years into the journey, sales and leadership all the way. Believe me, it works. But let's find out if that's the case. Let's find out what holds it together or whether it slowly falls apart. What's that one thing? Accountability. Now, if you've been following along through the earlier episodes, you'll remember that we've built this step by step. If you haven't, please pop back to episode 1. It's well worth it. We started with principles. These are the foundations, if you like, what you stand for. And why, if you know what you stand for, if you align your decisions, your work, your life along with that, things just get easier. We then went from what you stand for to alignment, perseverance, knowing your numbers. That means you're able to measure your outcomes. Are you getting better? Are you getting worse? Are you getting more effective? We then moved into reflection and improvement. Then we touched on leadership, decision-making under pressure. That's a great episode, that one. Standards, consistency, and now we arrive at this thing called accountability. Accountability is so important. Many people struggle with it. Accountability is where it all comes real. It all becomes crystal clear. Let me explain by what I mean about that, by that. It's really easy to say something matters. It's easy to talk about values. It's even easy to set a standard. It's easy to agree on what good looks like. But none of that holds without accountability. Because accountability is actually the mechanism that keeps everything in place. It's what turns ideas into behavior. It's what turns standards into outcomes. Without it, things drift. Slowly at first, often unnoticed, but over time, the gap between what we say and what we do gets wider because we have no accountability. Now, when people hear the word accountability, they often think it's something negative. They think about pressure or blame, or they think, I'm called out for something I've done, accountability. You're accountable, It's not the case. That is not what accountability is, my friends. Accountability is ownership. It's owning and taking responsibility for your actions, your decisions, and your outcomes. And more importantly, it's doing that without needing to be told. I'll give you a simple example. Something goes wrong. A task wasn't completed properly, and as a result, a deadline was missed. And so a result didn't land the way you expected. In that moment, you've got a choice. You can look outwards. You can blame the situation. You can blame the timing, blame someone else, blame circumstances, blame all you like. Or you can look inward and ask, what part of this is mine? What could I have done differently? What will I adjust next time? That is accountability. Now, here's the important part about accountability. It's not about being perfect. Nothing in this podcast is about being perfect. You are not broken. This podcast is simply about giving you tools, if you like, a toolbox of techniques to improve. Accountability is not about being perfect. That's not possible. It's not about getting everything right. Everyone makes mistakes. You will not get everything right. I haven't. Trust me. No one does. You will make mistakes. You will misjudge things. You will have outcomes that don't go your way. But accountability is what you do next. Do you own it? Do you learn from it? Do you adjust? Or do you avoid it, deflect it, minimize it, ignore it? If you do that, that's dangerous, and I'll tell you why. Because over time, those choices, whether you own something or disown something, actually define your trajectory. And if you don't know what a trajectory is, it's a big word, and it basically means the path that you travel. A missile has a trajectory. A plane flying up into the air has a trajectory. I said it was a big word, didn't I? And the idea is to onwards and upwards, as they say. You make the wrong choices, you're not going onwards and upwards. You're going to stay at the same level. And this podcast is not about that. There's that big word again. Let's talk a bit more about trajectory, because I've seen this play out in many environments. Workplaces, teams, individuals, social circles. I've seen this happen many times. In environments where accountability is strong, things move. Problems get solved quickly. People take ownership, standards are maintained, and trust builds. Because when people know that others will take responsibility, they feel more secure, they feel more confident, and they know things won't be ignored. But environments where accountability is weak, people blame others, something very different happens. People hesitate. They pass responsibility around. Problems don't get sorted, they don't get solved, and standards drop. It's called going down the gurgler. Over time, people become frustrated because everyone can see what's happening, but no one is owning it. Have you been there? You ever worked at a place like that? Terrible. Now, here's where this becomes really important. Accountability starts with you or me, not your manager, not your team, not the environment, you. Accountability starts with you. Because the moment you take ownership, even when it's uncomfortable, even it would be easier to blame someone else and not take ownership, you shift something. You stop being reactive and you start being responsible. I'll give you a real world style example. Let's say you're working in an environment where something isn't quite right. A process isn't working properly. Communication isn't clear. It's kind of vague. People get frustrated. Now, people will see that. Most people will see these things happening, but they won't act. They'll talk about it over the lunchroom or on the way home. They'll complain about it, but they won't take ownership of improving it. But someone who demonstrates accountability thinks differently. They ask, what can I do to improve this? Now notice my tone there. Not, what can I do to improve this? But what can I do to improve this now? Not fix everything, not make it magically better, but just improve it. I've talked about Kaizen. We'll get into that a bit later on. But just improve it. Maybe they clarify something. Maybe they simplify something. Maybe they communicate something better. That small action, that small improvement starts to shift the needle. It shifts the environment. And here's something I've learned over time. It's a cool thing about accountability. It's contagious. When one person takes ownership, other people sort of think, gee, that was kind of cool. And they start doing it too, because it sets a standard. It shows what good looks like. It removes the excuse of, that's not my responsibility. That's not my job description. Over time, that becomes culture. That's why I say accountability is where culture moves into the spotlight and becomes real. Because culture is, again, as I've said before, is not what's written on a wall. It's not a statement or a policy document or a poster in a lunchroom. Culture is behavior, repeated behavior, accepted behavior, That is culture. Repeated, accepted behavior. And accountability determines what gets accepted. You can have all the procedures, the policies, the standards in the world, but if there's no accountability, it all falls in a heap. And that's the same for you, same for me in our professional lives, our personal lives. Accountability is it. Now, let's bring this back to you again. Not me, you. Because this is where it matters most. You. That's who this podcast is about. Ask yourself this question. Where in my life am I currently avoiding responsibility? For me, it's trying to lose weight consistently and I keep ducking and diving. I'm accountable, it's my fault. Trust me. Be honest, because there's usually something. And what you just heard was me being honest. Something small maybe, something you've been putting off, something you've been justifying. Something you've been meaning to address but haven't. Maybe it's giving up smoking. Maybe it's giving up drinking or at least cutting down. Maybe it's about being a nicer person to others in your life. Something you've been meaning to address but you just haven't. That's accountability. Here's the next step for you then. Pick one of those things. Pick one, just one, and take full ownership of it. No excuses. No, I'll do it later. No deflection. Just do it. Hey, that could be a really cool slogan. Take ownership and action. Because once you do that, you will feel the shift. Accountability is so powerful, but at the same time, it's so empowering. It's so releasing. You'll feel clarity. You'll feel control. You'll feel progress. Remember, you're being accountable. If you haven't listened to episode 1 and 2, highly recommend you do. You're being accountable to yourself for living life according to your values, to your principles, to what you stand for. It is so liberating. Most importantly, you will start building trust with yourself. This is huge. This is a big one. Accountability is not just external. It's actually mostly internal. When you consistently take ownership, when you follow through, when you do what you say you will do, you trust yourself more. And that shifts the needle on everything. Your confidence grows, your decisions become clearer, your actions become more consistent because you know you'll back yourself. Here's some fun. Let's connect this back to everything we've built so far. Your principles, I mentioned them just now back in episodes 1 and 2. Your principles guide your direction. Aligning with those principles keeps you on track. Perseverance keeps you moving. Knowing your numbers gives you clarity. Reflecting on those numbers, reflection, sharpens your approach. Standards that you have define the expectations that you have of yourself and others. Consistency reinforces them. And accountability is what locks it all in. Without accountability, all of those things might still happen, but they're weaker. With accountability, they are strong. So here's something practical to take away this week. At the end of each day, take 2 minutes. I always reflect at the end of each day. Here's a reflection exercise for you. Ask yourself, where did I take ownership today? And where didn't I? It might even mean admitting you were in the wrong. That can be quite painful. But it's accountability right there. No judgment, no overthinking, just awareness. Was I right? Was I wrong? Was I accountable? Could I have done better? What will I do better next time? Because once you see it, you can improve it. Remember, if you can measure it, you can manage it. But you've got to see it in yourself. And if you want to improve yourself, you've got to be honest. You've got to be accountable with yourself. And right then, you start building something very powerful. Not just better results. You're building a stronger version of yourself. Mentally, very strong. Now, in the next episode, we're going to go again a little bit further, take it a step further. We're going to build on this a little bit more because once accountability is in place, something else deepens. Trust. We've talked about trust, but accountability amplifies it at a much deeper level. And that's where influence, leadership, and long-term performance really start to expand. This podcast is a long way forward. My name's Brian. Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed my podcast, please subscribe. And if you've got any questions or want to provide some feedback, by all means, leave a comment. I love the comments and I do respond. Thank you for listening.